All, Ram was Gandhi's favorite god. He even used the now famous words, "Hey Ram," in his dying moments. So the question is, what's in a name? Is the opposition simply politicizing, or is there a larger game at play? Because now this will also shift some part of the burden of these funds on the states, and the states don't want to take up the burden of these funds, and therefore are using this squibble around the name change to hit out at the Modi government. The government, on the other hand, is clear. Name or no name, the fact is that some of the fiscal burden will have to be shared by the states. They too need to share this load so that they understand where these monies are going, and more importantly, where this funding is actually coming from. We will debate that in just a moment, but first, a fiery face-off that happened in Parliament today.
सर, ये जो कानून है, इसके तहत हमारे गरीब भाई बहनों को जो रोजगार की कानूनी गारंटी मिलती है, जो अधिकार मिलता है, वह इस योजना में मांग के आधार पर संचालित होता है। ये जो हमारे संविधान की जो मूल भावना है कि हर एक व्यक्ति के हाथों में शक्ति होनी चाहिए, वही मूल भावना पंचायती राज में है, और उस मूल भावना के विरोध है ये जो अधिनियम, जो ये विधेयक आ रहा है। हर योजना का नाम बदलने की जो सनक है, ये समझ में नहीं आती है।
सर, I oppose the idea of replacing the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi's name, with G. Ramji. Ramji is respected by people in the country, but to me, Mahatma Gandhi is much more relevant. This distortion of the name of the NREGA, MGNREGA, is something we object.
मेरी सिर्फ सरकार से विनती है कि आप इसको स्टैंडिंग कमेटी भेजिए, उस पर संक्षेप में सारी चर्चा हो। ये नाम बदलने से कुछ नहीं होता, काम को महत्व होता है। सोच नाम लोग तो कहेंगे, कुछ लोगों का काम है कहना। तो ये मेरी विनती है सरकार को कि आप पहले तो ऑब्जेक्शन है, हम पूरा विरोध करते हैं कि आप महात्मा गांधी जी का नाम इससे नहीं निकालेंगे। हम पूरी ताकत से इसका विरोध करेंगे, और मेरी बड़ी विनम्रता से इनकी विनती है कि आप प्लीज इस पे चर्चा करवाइए।
So it's not just the name. Yes, the name is the big talking point, but the government wants to reshape the entire policy around the Rural Employment Guarantee Act. Now, earlier, the MGNREGA used to promise the guarantee was 100 days. Now the government is saying it'll go up to 125 days. So more than a third in a year, from 100 to 125 days in every financial year, you will get guaranteed employment. Second is the infrastructure, the kind of jobs. Earlier, the work was scattered across sectors. Now the government is saying it'll focus on 4 major types of works. 1, water security. 2, core rural infrastructure like building rural roads, etc. 3, something that is livelihood-related infrastructure. And 4, special works that will mitigate extreme weather events to try and beat climate change. So only 4 specific kinds of infrastructure work will be covered in the new MGNREGA, or the G Ramji. One of the major changes, and this is what the opposition ruled states are taking grave offense to, one of the major changes is the entire MGNREGA earlier was funded by the central government. In the new MGNREGA, the new G Ramji, the centre will play about 60% of the funds. The remaining wage bill, 40%, will have to be burdened by the states. And the states are saying no, the centre is saying you too have to share the burden. It can't just be the centre's business alone to be funding this signature Rural Employment Guarantee Act. Now, also, the other contention is the normative allocation in place of the labour budget. There is no open-ended funding to the states specific to this. They will have to manage from the share that they receive from the Consolidated Fund of India. The normative allocation differs from the existing provision in the labour budget under MGNREGA. There will not be any normative allocation under the labour budget under MGNREGA. It will be up to the states to figure out where they raise those monies to shoulder the burden of 40% of the disbursal of this amount. The labour budget is prepared based on anticipated demand for unskilled manual work. Now, why is the government insistent both on the name change as well as the responsibility be shared by both centre and states? Despite the mounting pressure from the opposition, the government is firm. Prime Minister Modi has made it clear during his meeting with the cabinet before the introduction of the bill in the House today. He has strongly advocated for more accountability by the states. At the end of the day, the money must be used prudently. The states have to shoulder some part of the burden. so that the states can also understand that accountability is not just the job of the center, but also the job of the states. With the use of technology, it will be assured that transparency will be brought in, and any claims that are being made of state versus center will simply stay put. He also said that there is no argument as far as the name is concerned, that everything changes as per the current times. He said that the spirit of the Mahatma and Ram are both respected and revered in the new name, which is G Ram G.
महात्मा गांधी हमारे दिलों में बसते हैं और हम केवल महात्मा गांधी जी को मानते नहीं हैं, हम महात्मा गांधी जी की भी मानते हैं और उन्हीं के विचारों पर आधारित गरीब कल्याण की कई योजनाएं ये सरकार मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में चला रही है। माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं ये मानता हूं कि ये जो नया बिल हम लेके आ रहे हैं, वो नया बिल गांव का संपूर्ण विकास करेगा। बापू हमारे दिलों में बसते हैं, उनका हम पूरा सम्मान करते हैं। पता नहीं क्यों जी राम जी नाम आ गया तो ये भड़क गए।
All right, I want to go across for a straight face-off on this. Shazia Elmi, national spokesperson of the BJP, is joining us. Mohan Kumar Mangalam is spokesperson of the Congress party. Shazia, the contention by the opposition, you heard from Priyanka Gandhi today in Parliament, Supriya Sule, from the TMC parliamentarians, that you are hell-bent on, removing the father of the nation, removing Mahatma Gandhi from everything, and therefore now you've named it G Ram G. What do you have so much against the father of the nation? That's their contention.
So the fact of the matter is that the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan was one of the biggest, the flagship programs of Narendra Modi ji, based exactly on Mahatma Gandhi ji. And the average allocation yearly is 98,000 crores. So our love for Mahatma Gandhi is actually practiced and not talked about or preached, but in fact is there in life and in living. And if you look at, Mahatma Gandhi's belief was, cleanliness is next to godliness. So Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is about that, and whether it's Bapu's words, and we stand by that. Now the problem is, it's the other way around. I think Congress has a big problem with anything to do with Lord Ram. And I think that is why they have such an issue with changing of the scheme and or the details of it. Instead of praising the government that it has gone out and ensured 125 days as minimum days for employment instead of 100, and speaking for the poor and looking at it seriously and reworking on the scheme and targeting it, tweaking it so that it helps instead of being open-ended.
But what is the rationale or the logic for changing the name from Mahatma Gandhi Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme? Explain to our viewers in one line, why the need for the change of the name?
No, there is no need to explain that. It is, the scheme has changed and the scope has changed, and so there is a change of the name.
Okay.
It in no way means disrespect for Mahatma Gandhi at all, and why should it be seen as one?
Okay.
You see the scheme and the merits of the scheme
Mohan
per se,
Kumar Mangalam,
and you
just
realize
because
that
a
it
name
really helps directly the poor.
Because a name has been changed doesn't mean it's disrespectful to the father of the nation. After all, Mahatma Gandhi doesn't need a scheme for him to be remembered across the country and by 1.4 billion people. So why are you, nitpicking on this issue? The real reason why you're opposed to it is because states now have to share the burden. They have to share 40% of the cost.
Well, yeah, Zaka, that is something to be opposed to either, because this was a guarantee and this was a right. Now that right and that guarantee is merely on paper. It was a demand-driven scheme, which is if you went, you had a guarantee and you had a right to ask for work and you had a guarantee that you would get work. Now when you've turned from a 90-10 share with 90% coming from the center, 100% of the labor bill and 75% of the material to 60-40, where are states going to find the resources required to actually ensure that they live up to that guarantee? It's not possible. And who's saying that it's Lord Ram? For all I know, G Ram Ji is Godse, Ram short for Nathuram, and then that's Godse again, who is actually the person that they admire and not the father of the nation. They can say platitudes about Mahatma Gandhi. Frankly, the fact is, every time you change the name of a scheme, and especially a scheme like NREGA, which has been around for over a decade, you spend hundreds of crores. And to not only popularize the name of the scheme, to change all the paperwork, all the hoardings, everything. And for what reason? Nothing. Absolutely no logic in why you should change the name of a scheme.
No, but
I
more
understand
when the UPA
intention
brought
to
in
do
this.
so.
One second.
Just
One second.
Just a small point.
When the UPA brought in the
Just small
NREGA, it was initially not called Mahatma Gandhi NREGA. It was called NREGA. The Mahatma Gandhi,
It was
the
Jawahar
prefix,
Rozgar.
yeah,
He
the
changed it to
prefix of
Mahatma
Mahatma Gandhi
Gandhi's
got added
name.
much later.
So it changed to Mahatma Gandhi's name, and we're saying that now you're changing it, but for what purpose? The demand-driven part of the scheme has been taken away almost entirely. The fact that actually we let Gram Panchayats decide the kind of work that was going to be done, now that's being taken away.
Okay.
So you're centralizing control of the works that are going to be done.
I just want to bring
but you're
in,
distributing the
Zaka,
amount
if
of
you-
money
Okay.
that needs to be spent to get it done.
Shazia.
So it's quite the opposite.
I just want to make a very small point.
Yeah.
So yes, I heard you. You know, in 1980, this was actually National Rural Employment Scheme, and it was later changed to Jawahar Rozgar Yojana. So why did Rajiv Gandhi deemed it fit to make it Jawahar Rozgar Yojana? Why wasn't National Rural Employment Program good enough? And also, please tell me, why
Jawahar
was
Rozgar
Rural
Yojana
Housing
was
Scheme
an
changed into
urban
Indira
employment scheme.
Awas Yojana? No, let me finish. Why was Rural Housing Scheme changed to Indira Awas Yojana? Why was Rural Electrification Scheme made into Rajiv Gandhi Gramin Vidyutikaran Yojana? Why was it? And it was later named as Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana. And Congress possibly has imposed a one's family name on every institution. Right now, I can tell you about 599 to almost 800 institutions named after the Gandhi Nehru Parivar, and if I'll start rattling them off, you wouldn't know where to go.
No, but
Because
Shazia,
it's
today
such a-
Priyanka
I
Gandhi
mean,
was
it's
asked
almost
about it.
hilarious.
One second.
Shazia,
Shazia, today Priyanka
Shazia,
Gandhi
wait,
was
wait,
asked
Shazia,
about
no,
it
let me-
in Parliament.
Yes.
You know, why are you so upset about Mahatma Gandhi's name being removed? He's not from your family. He said, yeah, he's not from my family. He belongs to everyone's family.
He's a father of the nation.
Correct. If Priyanka
not be
Gandhi,
father of
I want to
God
ask
nation?
Priyanka Gandhi this. If that was the case, exactly. So Priyanka Gandhi first must answer that why, if Mahatma Gandhi was father of the nation, why did Rajiv Gandhi at Gramin Vidyutikaran Yojana, Rajiv Gandhi National Drinking Water Mission, Rajiv Gandhi National Creche Scheme for children of working mothers, Rajiv Gandhi Udyami Mitra Yojana, why on earth can Priyanka answer, why wouldn't she answer why there was an Indira Gandhi National Old Age Pension Scheme, Jawaharlal Nehru Urban Renewal Mission, why on earth is there Rajiv Gandhi Shramik Kalyan Yojana,
So,
Indira
Mohan,
Gandhi Canal
respond to that.
Project,
There are more
Rajiv
than
Gandhi
500
Shilpi
schemes.
Swajna
There used to be
Yojana.
at one point more than 500
it's
schemes
hilarious.
named after
It
either
is hilarious.
Jawaharlal
Where
Nehru
Mahatma
or
Gandhi-
Indira Gandhi
Where
or
is
Rajiv
Mahatma
Gandhi.
Gandhi?
Why?
Rajiv Gandhi
Zaka, we are
Pradhik
very
Shiksha
proud.
Mission.
Okay.
Rajiv Gandhi
Let
Shiksha
him
Mission.
respond. Let him
Rajiv
respond,
Gandhi
Shazia.
Mission on Food Security.
Shazia,
Let him
Mahatma-
respond,
I'm
Shazia.
rattling
Let
off
him
the
respond.
names.
Let him respond. Yeah.
We heard you, Shazia.
Shazia, let
You
him
made
respond,
your
yeah.
point well taken, Shazia. Can I talk now?
Yeah.
So, Zaka, one, we are very proud of our former prime ministers in this country, and we believe that one way to remember them is by naming these schemes after them. If you want to remove their name, we are
And
not
what about
protesting.
Narasimha Rao?
We are protesting the removal of
Mahatma Gandhi's
Mahatma Gandhi's name, the father of the nation, who, by the way, whose
Yes,
vision
but why
for
are you
Ram
protesting
Rajya,
against Rajiv
whose vision for
Gandhi's
Gram
name
Swaraj was
and Indira
intertwined.
Gandhi's name
This
and
scheme
Jawaharlal
actually
Rozgar
liberates
Yojana? Why did you
thousands of women who live in villages.
No,
Gives
but
them-
Mohan, you're still not
Labour.
explaining
You are
why.
taking
No,
that
one
away.
second. You're still not explaining why you have a problem with the name G Ram G, which has Ram in it, and the government today, the minister spoke in the parliament and said that Mahatma Gandhi's dying words were "Hey Ram." His favorite god was Lord
Why?
Ram. What is your problem with Lord Ram?
Zaga, we have never had a problem with Lord Ram. Why not just call it Mahatma Gandhi Ram scheme? Why did you remove the father of the nation's name? I'm not opposed to putting Ram there. Add it on.
Just
Since you're
like-
going to change the name
just like the
anyway,
BJP or
keep
people
it as
of India
Mahatma
did not
Gandhi
decide-
Ram scheme. Right? Why
I
remove
want to
his
just say
name?
one thing. One last thing.
Okay,
No,
Shazia.
just
yeah.
how-
You don't
look
believe
how-
in him,
Look
because
at the
you don't
hypocrisy.
believe in the-
Look at the Zaka. Look at the hypocrisy. Did BJP or people of India ever protest? And I've been reading out the names on Rajiv Gandhi Food Security Mission for tribal areas, Rajiv Gandhi Home for Handicap Pondicherry, Rajiv Gandhi Breakfast Scheme,
replied to
Rajiv
this
Gandhi
point already,
Akshay
saying
Urja
that no
Yojana
regrets
Punjab,
in
Rajiv Gandhi Artisans Health. I mean, shame on you. Shame on you. Rajiv Arogya Shri program,
no shame
35
whatsoever.
programs Rajiv Gandhi, Abhyudaya Yojana, 36
spend
Rajiv Gandhi
entire show
Computer
reading every
Saksharta,
single
Rajiv
scheme.
Gandhi Bridges and
It is
Roads.
utter
My
Okay.
goodness, it goes on and on. Indira Gandhi Women Protection,
but
Indira
the-
Gandhi
but
Pratishthan,
the
Housing
moot
and Urban,
point
Indira
is
Gandhi.
no,
I
one
mean,
second.
come on, with
The
what
moot
face?
point, the
Where is
moot
Mahatma
point
Gandhi?
is from the CAG to the Supreme Court, they have wrapped the UPA and the NDA when they were in power for flaws in this particular rural employment guarantee scheme. In April 2011, the Supreme Court rapped both the union and the state governments for funds being misappropriated. In April 2013, the CAG report had said that there were 128 crores that were misused. So the point, Mohan Kumar Mangalam, is not what's in a name. As Shakespeare said, what is in a name? It's not the name that you should be fighting. You should be fighting for better efficiencies in this particular flagship scheme.
And Zaka, those efficiencies are something that have been built over a period of time, over a decade of this scheme. I remember in the scheme where there were no direct benefits transfers. In fact, one of the first transfer of payments that happened in C2 via biometrics, via Aadhaar, was in this scheme during UPA's term. We had business correspondents that would actually go down and actually verify.
You had a problem with Aadhaar being linked.
Shazia, can you please let me finish? I don't interrupt you. I was on the ground.
You had a problem with BJP linking Aadhaar.
One at a time. Let him finish and then I'll come to you, Shazia.
I'll call you out.
Yeah, let him finish.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Shazia, I was on the ground in 2014. In fact, I even, as part of when I was in Youth Congress, protested against lack of payment for works done in the scheme. And I was on the ground with business correspondents that would come to the NREGA site, actually take a biometric verification and disperse payment. So there were ways that constantly the scheme was being audited, it was being improved.
Okay.
That is a gradual process.
So Shazia,
now, please tell me how 1 second, Zaga,
please
let
allow
me
me to
finish.
speak.
Just explain to me
we
how.
all know.
1 second. Just let me finish. Just 1 second, Shazia.
I will.
I just want
let me speak for
to
that.
understand. I just want to understand how, when you change the balance of payments from 90-10 to 60-40, and you know that states after GST have almost dismal to none, in infinitesimally small ways to raise revenue for schemes, how on earth can you expect this scheme to continue and give 125 days? I'm telling you, on an average, they are not even getting 100 days today. And the Prime Minister, in his first address, I remember when he took power, had ridiculed this scheme. He has been gradually deprecating this scheme in one way or the other. This is a final
Shazia, respond. Yeah.
Let me prove. Let me come in, please. So let me just debunk all the so-called factoids rather uttered by you. Let me tell everybody here, the scheme was introduced in 2006, and total spending so far is 11.74 lakh crores. And do you know how much was spent from 2006 to 2014? Only 3 lakh crores. In fact, 8.53 crores was spent under Modi government alone. So if you look at the entire sum of the fund allocated, 8 lakh crores was spent during Modi ji's time, 10 years, and before that, only 3 lakh crores. So please, let's not go there. And states should allocate. This is part of cooperative federalism and efficiency of the states. There has to be a kitty for that, and most of the states anyway are run by BJP. So I don't think you should have a problem.
Okay,
and
so let me request Shazia. Let me request
slide.
Shazia and Mohan to stay on with us. I want them to stay on for the next face-off as well, and that again has to do with the BJP and the Congress. Today, a Delhi court declined to take cognizance of the charge sheet filed by the Enforcement Directorate in the National Herald case in which both Sonia and Rahul Gandhi are named as accused. The court said it is impermissible in law to take judicial note of the charge sheet and summon the Gandhis, but the court did say that the ED was at liberty to further argue its case in the next date of hearing. While the Congress has called this a slap on the face of the investigating agency, the BJP says the relief is only temporary. Both the ED and the Economic Offences Wing of the Delhi Police are probing the matter, and once an FIR is filed by the Economic Offences Wing, then the ED will be allowed to register a charge sheet against Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. Let me just show that up on the big video wall. What did the court say today, which on the one hand the Congress is claiming as a big legal victory, whereas the BJP is saying this is not even a temporary reprieve? The court has not taken cognizance of the charge sheet filed by the Enforcement Directorate. That means that Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi at this stage are not accused. Had cognizance of the charge sheet been taken, then the court would have summoned the Gandhis and they would have told them that so and so are the charges that are being framed against both Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. That has not happened so far. Now, the Enforcement Directorate cannot prosecute on the basis of the current charge sheet because the court, in its wisdom, has opined that a predicate offence of money laundering has not been established. The court has ruled that the money laundering case, the PMLA case, is untenable without an FIR for a scheduled offence. The prosecution, the court has said, has failed on procedural grounds. But the prosecution's contention, and the BJP has been echoing this is on technical grounds, on procedural grounds, not on the merits of the case. The court has not weighed in on the merits of the case. What is the actual allegation against both Sonia and Rahul Gandhi? The court also highlighted that the ED itself was unconvinced of a prosecution under PMLA being maintainable in the absence of an FIR in the predicate offence. This was a private complaint, not an FIR by an investigating agency, on the basis of which the ED had filed this charge sheet. The refusal to take cognizance of the charge sheet puts a halt in this case for the moment. Any future ED action will depend on developments in the second FIR in this case, which of course has been registered by the Economic Offences Wing of the Delhi Police. So if the ED finds that there is merit to establish a predicate offence in that FIR, basis that FIR, then they can file a charge sheet, and it's up to the court whether to take cognizance of that charge sheet or not. Let's listen in to the lawyers and, of course, political reactions too.
मैंने इस महत्वपूर्ण मामले की दलील खुद ने की थी राउज एवेन्यू में। बहुत महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय है। खोखला केस जिसको इतना ऊपर ले गए और आज उसकी कॉग्निजेंस तक नहीं हुई। आप समझ सकते हैं कि कितनी ज्यादा अतिशयोक्ति और कितना बढ़ावा चढ़ावा हल्ला करके हिस्टीरिया बना के बीजेपी सत्तारूढ़ पक्ष इसकी बात करती है।
कोर्ट ने तो बड़ा स्पष्ट कर दिया, ये गए थे मामला क्वैश करने के लिए, कोर्ट ने मना कर दिया और कोर्ट ने कहा कि मामला जारी रहेगा और जो कार्रवाई है, उचित कार्रवाई, जो बनती कार्रवाई होगी।
So let me go back to Shazia Elmi and to Mohan Kumar Mangalam. Mohan, the Congress party is making it out to be that the court has quashed this entire case. That's not what the court has said. The court has simply said that this was a private complaint. Basis a private complaint, an investigating agency cannot file a charge sheet. Therefore, the court is not taking cognizance of the charge sheet. There is a second FIR that's been filed by the Economic Offences Wing of the Delhi Police. If and when it gets to a stage where the ED can establish a predicate offence, then they are well within their right to file a charge sheet, and the court will take cognizance of that charge sheet. This is not a legal celebration, or it's not like they've been acquitted.
Zaka, do you want me to respond? Because
Yes.
I thought you asked Shazia first.
No, I asked you.
Okay, all right. Zaka, have you ever heard of the Enforcement Directorate moving to the level of a charge sheet on the basis of a private complaint? This is unprecedented. I mean, you have an agency, a storied agency that the BJP keeps telling us is independent and that it's doing its job, moved with lightning pace after filing the case in 2018, attaching properties, going and investigating or interrogating rather the accused multiple times, and then finally filing a charge sheet only to go to court and be told that there is no predicate offense, that the court refuses to take cognizance. What does this show if not that this is a witch hunt? And this was all carried out, by the way, this is the second time that the court has given a slap on the wrist of the ED. I would say it's more than a slap on the wrist this time. But if you remember, all of this under the ED was carried under the aegis of the government's handmaiden, Mr. Sanjay Kumar Mishra, who was the Enforcement Directorate Director, whose term was extended 3 times. And the Supreme Court actually ruled that the third time extension was actually illegal. It was during his term that all of this thing came to bear. It's clear more and more that the government has no foundation to stand on. And the court,
but Mohan, the court has also clearly said the reason why they're not taking cognizance is because it was on the basis of a private complaint. If there is an FIR, and now there is an FIR.
That's why I'm asking you, Zaka, that same private complaint from Mr. Subramaniam Swamy is stayed in Delhi High Court from his own, as per his own wish. He asked for a stay. It's been stayed for nearly 5 years. That is actually the foundation. That is actually the schedule offence. The
now there is an FIR that's been filed by the Economic Offences Wing of the Delhi Police.
Yes, of course.
Basis that the ED is free to file a new charge sheet.
Yes, let them go ahead. We will deal with it in court. The point was, why for the last decade or so that this case has been running, the income tax has gotten involved, there's been a trial court, there's gone to high court. Why is it that the ED, such an experienced agency that has so much at its, at its disposal, would go to court
Okay.
without an FIR.
So
It's only
Shazia,
because
respond
it
to that.
vindicates our
It was a
stand
motivated
that this is a
private
witch hunt.
complaint.
Yes,
The
I
private
want to-
complaint has been stayed. Now the court has refused to take cognizance of a charge sheet basis that private complaint. Shazia.
You know, all the facts are in the public domain. One, with what happened with AGL and how the shares were sold and what, so everybody knows about it. Two, first of all, I'll start by saying that unlike Congress party, we would respect the High Court and whatever High Court is indeed saying, instead of trashing the verdict, judging the institution itself and calling it names. That's first. And now let me get to the main point.
I didn't do that.
So court has clearly said that ED can't really file FIR by a case which is filed by a private person. We all heard that. But ED has filed a charge sheet and FIR in the case filed by the private person. We know who that is, Subramaniam Swamiji. And that's why the judge has actually said that Delhi police has to supply the FIR copy. Now what happens next? I want to tell you that on 3rd of October, this year itself, Delhi Police Economic Offences Wing has already filed a FIR against Gandhis, and now ED can file fresh FIR. And so the case is open, and it's on a technical point. Nobody has examined the innocence or the actual charges. So it's a procedural point. It's not on merit at all. And ED did know about this. I mean, it's a very basic thing that ED would not know. But it went ahead with a technical mistake. But can you imagine if this private complaint made by a private individual, such as Mr. Swami, what if it was withdrawn in lieu of whatever? I don't know. And then what would happen to the case? So as of now, in October itself, a new FIR has been filed and EOW has completed all formalities.
No, but the contention
so
of the
ED
Congress
now
is that
will join
this
probe
is an
officially on
example,
EOWs.
Shazia, this is an example of you using the ED, CBI, IT, etc. as agencies to witch hunt the opposition. That's what they're saying.
Oh, that's a standard one, right? They can, I mean, that is what they come up with all the time. Let's go into details of this, right? And because I just made a point, I'm going into the nitty gritty of it. So if Delhi Economic Offences Wing has completed all the formalities, which it has, so ED is now free to probe officially, because the entire thing depends on the private complaint and why it cannot be actionable. Now that, what if it's filed, and also the question is, why has it not been investigated by CBI or EOW, and now EOW will has complete the formalities and will go ahead. And the cognizance of this is not a clean chit whatsoever. So no cognizance does not mean a clean chit. And I want to say this. And on 16 January, they'll come up with more details.
Mohan,
so now
you know,
finally,
at the end of the day,
at the
end of the day, the merits of the the merits of the matter are a not-for-profit company in which there were 4 directors. 2 of them were Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, had between them almost 75% of the shares. For 50 lakhs, got property that AJL had worth 2,000 crore rupees. That's the nub of the issue.
So this is not on the merits or demerits.
Zaka, this is the strangest case ever. There's no movement of money, not 1 inch of movable property moved. Yet, as per ED, this is money laundering. Ownership of AJL is now with Young India, but all assets and properties remain with AJL. As a non-profit company, it cannot pay dividends, it cannot distribute profit, it cannot give perks to the board members. So where is the money laundering? But forget that. Let's not argue the merits of the case. My point stands, and I'm not saying, as this does not confirm acquittal, neither does the BJP's constant allegations over the last decade confirm guilt. I'm more than happy for us to have our day in court. If the original complainant would kindly ask for the High Court to vacate the stay that he himself asked for and has been sitting for 4 years, we could have our day in court, and you will see, and the rest of the country will see, how baseless and ridiculous these allegations have been. This is just harassment of the opposition, pure harassment. And today's going too quick, rushing to the courts, knowing that they don't have a predicate offense by the ED, shows that the harassment will continue.
So, Shazia, a quick word, the harassment will continue. The ED knew full well that there was no predicate offense established. Despite that, on the basis of a private complaint, they went ahead with a charge sheet. This is basic law. They should have known this.
Yeah, they went ahead and they had to go ahead, because had it been withdrawn by Subramanian Swamy in lieu of whatever gains, they had to still keep on with the case. And now the fresh complaint has been filed with Delhi Economic Offences Wing. That's what I'm trying to explain. So nobody is such a fool. I'm not speaking for any particular body, but I'm giving you technical points as to why now there'll be merit, because Delhi Offences Wing will bring it forth, and there is an FIR already made. So now it'll be actionable, because even if the private individual concerned here withdraws it, the matter still continues to be in the court.
We'll leave it at that. Shazia Elmi, Mohan Kumar Mangalam, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see how this story plays out politically also. I'm sure this will be a big sort of political talking point in the run-up to the assembly elections next year. But I want to quickly move on to the other big story today, and that is just a few weeks ago on the 6th of December, an inferno at a Goa nightclub had claimed 25 lives. It was a tragedy in the making. The owners of the nightclub, Siddharth and Gaurav Luthra, have now been brought back to India from Thailand. This marks a significant development in the ongoing investigation. Their 10-day Thailand escapade began the very night that the blaze was still burning at their North Goa club, Birch by Romeo Lane. They will be taken to Goa now, where they will face the law. Investigators are probing alleged violations of fire safety norms, licensing conditions, and other statutory requirements at the club. CNN News 18, in fact, confronted the Luthra brothers at the Patiala House Court today a short while ago. All we got in return was complete silence from the Luthra brothers. It's not just so much what they did, but the manner in which they thought they could get away with what happened at their nightclub by running away from the law, by running away from the country, and then being brought back within a week, 10 days. That, I think, is something that has really brought to light a certain pervasive attitude amongst the rich, famous, and powerful in this country that they can make the law bend in their favor. Now authorities are intensifying their probe into this incident. They are also looking at related legal violations. The nightclub should not have been there in the first place. It was built against CRZ, Coastal Regulation Zone violations. It was built on agricultural land that was converted to non-agricultural purposes, and it had completely violated all safety concerns as far as fire safety is concerned. For the last 1 year, its fire safety no objection certificate had been expired, and no one bothered to renew it, and neither was this brought up by the local fire officers there. CNN News 18 has now accessed a trail of documents that have opened a can of worms. First up, we accessed a map which was part of the petition that was filed against this particular nightclub. The encircled area there is the region where the nightclub was being run by the Luthra brothers, and there was illegal construction in that region. The map, which is a layout of the property in question, establishes that this entire region, as per the Goa government's own records, is classified as an ecologically sensitive zone, which means it cannot be converted into a settlement zone as per the land rules of the Goa government itself. The encircled region shows that this was essentially declared as a salt pan. You cannot have construction on top of a salt pan. Conclusively, this land was never meant to be carrying out any kind of commercial business or a commercial activity. It was originally owned by a man named Pradeep Ghari Amolkar, who is the whistleblower or the petitioner in this case. This land was sold by him to other individuals, and finally there was a commercial establishment that was established in violation of CRZ norms, in violation of the fire safety norms, and in violation of norms that are meant to govern agricultural land. Meanwhile, we're getting some breaking updates on the case of the Luthra brothers. They will now be taken to Goa tomorrow. They have been remanded to 2 days transit remand custody. They were produced in a local Delhi court earlier today, and now the court has granted 2 days transit remand that the Luthra brothers can be taken to Goa and made to stand trial there in Goa for the deaths of 25 people in their nightclub. Ananya has more details on this. Ananya, what did the court say while it granted this 2-day transit remand?
Well, as far as the court is concerned, the court has now granted 2 days of transit remand to the Goa police to actually take these two accused persons, the Luthra brothers, to Goa. Not only that, it was told by the Goa police that, these were two brothers whose custodial interrogation is necessary, and 3 days of transit remand was actually sought. The court has now granted, in fact, a transit remand of 2 days or 48 hours. And in fact, the Luthra brothers could be taken out from here any moment, and they will be, in fact, brought to, the airport from where he'll be boarding the flight tomorrow morning. Most probably, it's an 8 a.m. flight that they would be boarding. The police is still contemplating on the particular flight, but very clearly it was stated before the court by the Goa police and, in fact, the prosecution that these are two brothers who are somebody who, are at a flight risk. They've already tried to flee away from the country. They had to be deported back to India. And then only could their custody be secured as far as this case is concerned. So very clearly, at this juncture, these two brothers would be now taken back to Goa, where they would be facing the real prosecution as far as this case under the sections of, in fact, culpable homicide not amounting to murder is concerned. Zaka.
All right, Ananya, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. Our legal correspondent there giving us details of the Delhi court now granting 2 days transit remand to the Goa police to take the Luthra brothers to Goa and make them stand trial there in this terrible, terrible accident that happened at their nightclub. Let's now move on. Prime Minister Modi is on a 3-nation tour of Jordan, Ethiopia and Oman. The visit aims to enhance India's trade and security ties with all of these three countries, as well as bolster its strategic presence in West Asia as well as in Northern Africa. As he wrapped up his first leg of the trip, which was Jordan, the Prime Minister said that the outcomes of his visit to Jordan marked a meaningful and important step in expanding ties between Delhi and Amman, highlighting growing cooperation, whether it is clean energy, digital innovation. Also, Jordan, remember, is an important hub and node when it comes to the IMEC, or the India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. That was mentioned in the talks today as well. And Jordan is an important stakeholder in the evolving situation in the Middle East, particularly vis-a-vis the Gaza war, where the ceasefire is now in effect from phase 1. They are now going to move to phase 2. India too has a stake in the active peace there in Gaza, and of course the reconstruction effort once they get there. So all of these topics were discussed between the Prime Minister and the King of Jordan, King Abdullah, as well as the Crown Prince. Let's listen in to some reactions.
फ्रेंड, आप सभी जानते हैं कि भारत थर्ड लार्जेस्ट इकोनॉमी की ओर तेजी से बढ़ रहा है। भारत की ग्रोथ रेट 8% से ऊपर है। ये ग्रोथ नंबर प्रोडक्टिविटी ड्रिवन, गवर्नेंस और इनोवेशन ड्रिवन पॉलिसीज का नतीजा है। आज जॉर्डन के हर बिजनेस, हर इन्वेस्टर के लिए भी भारत में अवसरों के नए द्वार खुल रहे हैं। भारत की तेज ग्रोथ में आप सहयोगी बन सकते हैं और अपने निवेश पर शानदार रिटर्न भी पा सकते हैं। फ्रेंड, आज दुनिया को नए ग्रोथ इंजन चाहिए। दुनिया को एक ट्रस्टेड सप्लाई चेन की जरूरत है। भारत और जॉर्डन मिलकर दुनिया की इस जरूरत को पूरा करने में बड़ा रोल निभा सकते हैं।
India-Jordan political ties have deepened in recent years. This was first full-fledged visit of Indian Prime Minister in 4 decades. Being a moderate Islamic nation in West Asia, Jordan has been a bulwark against radicalization, extremism and terrorism. The country is also playing an important role in the West Asia peace efforts. There is a meeting of mind between India and Jordan in dealing with terrorism as global challenge. In addition, Jordan is an important partner for India to meet its food security needs. India imports significant amount of fertilizer from the country and has also invested in the potash and phosphate sectors there. There is a full potential for such investments to secure India's requirements. In fact, Prime Minister Modi also addressed the business forum in Jordan.
The United States has unveiled Pax Silica. It's a strategic alliance that is aimed at securing supply chains for rare earth minerals, semiconductors, and advanced AI technologies. The building blocks of future economic and military power. Designed to cut dependence on China, which controls almost 90% of the world's rare earth processing, this initiative brings together key American partners across Asia. But India is not a part of Pax Silica. Why is India missing from a group that is meant to define the next era of global technology leadership? Is it a question of capability? Is it a question of strategy? Or is it simply unresolved trade friction with Trump? I dig a little deeper into this. A new America-led strategic initiative, Pax Silica, aims to create a secure supply chain in areas of critical minerals, emerging technologies, and advanced manufacturing of semiconductors. This new critical tech alliance got formed this past week, but curiously, it omits India. This development comes at a time when trade teams from Washington just finished another round of high-level trade talks in New Delhi. India and America have had 5 rounds of trade talks since April, but the trade deal still seems elusive. The new alliance is named Pax Silica, and it seeks to strengthen supply chain security for rare earth minerals and other resources that are vital for advanced AI technologies. As the name suggests, the aim is to reduce reliance on China, which currently controls about 70% of the global rare earth mining and processing. The Trump administration's new initiative features the United States and 8 other partner countries, including Singapore, Australia, Japan, South Korea, and Israel. All of these are founding members. As the name suggests, Pax comes from the Latin word pax, which means peace and stability, and silica is the base compound that is refined into silicone for computer chips. Pax Silica is also a response to Pax Sinica, which imagines a China-led global order. Pax Silica is a new kind of international grouping, one that aims to unite the countries that host the world's most advanced technologies to unleash the economic potential of the new AI age. As per a statement put out by the US State Department, the Pax Silica effort stems from advancing US President Donald Trump's call for a new era of economic statecraft that produces peace and security for America and its allies through the power of private investment and free enterprise in advanced computing technology. The US government highlighted that this is the first time that countries are organizing around big compute, silicon, rare minerals, and energy as a shared strategic asset. But curiously, Pax Silica leaves out India. So what is the justification or the strategic logic behind leaving out the world's largest democracy? India, while it's strong on chip design talent, it's not yet fully developed a fully evolved high-end semiconductor supply ecosystem, which is comparable to some of the other partners who are part of this new alliance. Experts also suggest that this structural technology gap is a key reason why India is not included for now in Pax Silica, even as it pursues broader ambitions in semiconductors and in artificial intelligence. India has been vying for opportunities during the ongoing global supply chain realignment as American and European companies are looking to diversify away from China. The West's diversification push has gathered pace, particularly after China imposed restrictions on rare earth magnets earlier this year, which disrupted the entire global supply chains. There has been domestic blowback in India. The Congress party has seized on these reports to target Prime Minister Narendra Modi, with Party General Secretary Jairam Ramesh saying that India's exclusion from Pax Silica was not very surprising. He also linked it to what he described as a sharp downturn in Trump-Modi ties. In a post on X, Ramesh said that the development came just a day after the Prime Minister had publicly described a telephone call with the US President Donald Trump as warm and engaging. But here's the thing. Trump excluding India from the new Pax Silica alliance could simply be a fallout of the unresolved trade issues between India and America. New measures under Pax Silica include pursuing new joint ventures and strategic co-investment opportunities, protecting sensitive technologies and critical infrastructure. It also includes building trusted technology ecosystems, including ICT systems, fiber optic cables, data centers, foundational models, and their applications. Experts say that the countries which are currently part of this America-led initiative are among the top in terms of AI and semiconductor supply chains. India currently has not evolved in these sectors, which could be one of the reasons why India does not find mention in the list of countries who are part of Pax Silica. However, like in the case of earlier initiatives, particularly the Mineral Security Partnership, MSP, which was launched by the US in 2022, India could join this initiative too at a later stage. China currently dominates the global supply chain of critical minerals. Several countries, including India, send raw material to China for processing these rare earth elements because they simply have huge capacities. This US initiative intends to sideline China, and India's intention should be to join such an initiative in the future. But the ground reality is that India does not have much processing capacity when it comes to rare earths. India has recently announced a rare earths national mission, but there is still long ways to go. India not being part of this new initiative could also be a reflection of the challenges around the unresolved India-US trade deal. But once those differences are settled, hopefully in the early part of 2026, then India should be able to join this new initiative, Pax Silica. As of now, the churn in global geopolitics continues, and Pax Silica, this new alliance for semiconductors and rare earth cooperation, helmed by America, is just a reflection of the changing global realities. It's a big week for Ukraine. The Trump factor seems to be back and right at the center of the Ukraine war. The United States, Ukraine, and European allies say they're closing in on a NATO-like security guarantee for Kyiv. After intense talks over the last couple of days in Berlin, negotiators claim that most differences have been narrowed down. But one contention remains, and that is territory. President Trump is urging Ukraine to concede parts of the Donbass and end this war. Will Zelensky agree? And will Putin accept security guarantees that could lock in Western protection for Ukraine? Again, we explore this a little more. The United States, Ukraine, and Europe have agreed on a NATO-like guarantee for the future security of Ukraine. Over the last few days, Ukraine and its allies have tried to come up with a revised peace proposal that would deter any future attacks by Russia. After 2 days of talks in Berlin, officials told reporters that they had resolved or significantly closed gaps on 90% of their differences. This was based on the 20-point draft agreement that was put forth by the Trump administration to end the nearly 4-year-long war. But they acknowledged that the question of where to draw a new Russia-Ukraine border in the Donbass, where much of the fighting has been happening, is still unresolved. Ukrainian President Zelensky has said it would be impossible for Ukraine to give up territory, mostly in the Donetsk, that Russia has not yet taken on in the battlefield. President Trump has told Zelensky he should basically surrender that territory because he will most likely lose that territory in the coming months if the fighting were to continue.
Я вважаю, що питання території, воно болюче. Бо Росія хоче те, що вона хоче, і можемо не йти далі, бо це довгий діалог. Ми чітко розуміємо, що вони хочуть. Можемо вірити в це, може хтось не вірити в це, але ми чітко знаємо на 100% чого вони хочуть.
Most of the conversation over the past couple of days focused on the security guarantee, which is intended to deter Russia from invading Ukrainian territory again in the future. Trump was willing to submit any final agreement on American commitments to Ukraine, provided Putin was also willing to sign off on the same. It is still not clear whether the security guarantee would become a formal treaty, a treaty like what the United States has with Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, and other allies. In those agreements, America is treaty-bound to come to the defense of any of these allies if they're attacked. Trump has said that the United States will not contribute ground troops to Ukraine, but he did offer to patrol the skies and to enforce a no-fly zone in addition to providing Ukraine with intelligence from American satellites and signals. European officials who had been skeptical of Trump's willingness to play a central role in Ukraine's security said that they emerged from the meeting pretty impressed with the American plan. Trump said that they were almost at the finish line and he's hopeful to stitch it up by Christmas. As the draft agreement is amended to address more of Ukraine's concerns, the more difficult part will be to persuade Russian President Vladimir Putin to sign on. Putin's strategy so far has been to encourage the conversation while continuing to pound Ukraine's electrical and heating infrastructure. Almost every single night, there have been missile and drone attacks in the hope of breaking the will of the Ukrainian people over a long, cold, and harsh winter. Zelensky has been pressing since February for ironclad security guarantees that Western allies will come to Ukraine's aid if Russia were to attack it again. Trump has been resisting that for months, but now he seems to have come around. Zelensky and Ukraine have also been very skeptical because previous treaties have openly been flouted by Russia, and yet the West has not come to defend Ukraine. Those guarantees in a 1994 accord called the Budapest Memorandum failed to deter a war that has resulted in more than 1.5 million casualties in the last almost 4 years. In that previous agreement in 1994, the United States, Britain and Russia had given assurances to protect Ukraine in return for Ukraine giving up its old Soviet nuclear weapons. But the accord was vaguely worded. It was not clear what kind of aggression would spark a response or what the form of that response would be. The options ranged from a strongly worded diplomatic protest to providing arms to sending in troops and air support to counter an invasion. So 30 years later, Russia broke that accord and Ukraine is still paying the price for it.
Ich bin deshalb sehr froh darüber, dass wir in der Europäischen Union nun das russische Staatsvermögen dauerhaft immobilisiert haben, wie wir so schön sagen, bis es zu einem Frieden mit der Ukraine kommt. Wir wollen dieses Geld nutzbar machen, um die Ukraine militärisch für mindestens die kommenden 2 Jahre zu unterstützen, wenn dies denn notwendig sein sollte. Um es hier sehr klar und sehr deutlich zu sagen, wir tun das nicht, um den Krieg zu verlängern. Im Gegenteil, wir tun das, um diesen Krieg so schnell wie möglich zu beenden, meine Damen und Herren. Denn dies sendet an Moskau das klare Signal, dass eine Fortsetzung dieses Krieges für Moskau sinnlos ist. Wir zeigen damit Stärke und nur mit Stärke werden wir es schaffen, diesen sinnlosen Krieg, meine Damen und Herren, zu beenden.
After more than 8 hours of meetings on Sunday and Monday between Zelensky, Steve Witkoff, who's Trump's special envoy, and Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, the Ukrainian leader emerged saying that he was heartened by the progress made so far. But he also made it clear that he was not ready to embrace the final document that will have to be signed off by Putin. Zelensky said that before withdrawing troops and allowing parts of Donetsk to be a free trade zone, there must be a clear understanding of what these security guarantees will mean. He also noted that because the United States was refusing to offer Ukraine membership to NATO, he would need those security guarantees to be even stronger than those that are given to NATO members. NATO's Article 5 says, an attack on one is an attack on all. In a statement after the meeting, 12 European leaders laid out some of the details of the latest agreement. They said that under the new accord, the West would provide sustained and significant support to Ukraine to sustain a peacetime military of about 800,000 forces. That would be both the largest and the most battle-tested force in Europe. A Europe-led multinational force will have contributions from Europe's biggest powers, France, Britain and Germany, all of whom have committed that they will send a required number of troops. The flurry of diplomatic activity comes after American negotiators presented a 28-point peace plan by Trump last month. Initially, the Ukrainians dismissed it as being too aligned with Russia. European leaders came around and they have supported Ukraine's counter-proposal, which basically would allow Ukraine to hold on to the territory that it currently controls. Ultimately, it boils down to where Putin will agree to settle this war, either on the dialogue table or on the battlefield.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Yes, 10 seconds
yes,
counter.
Yes,
thank you. Anand Bhai, Pradeep Bhandari ji made a statement that this is on the instructions of Rahul Gandhi. I think it's unfair to attribute this to him without having any evidence of proof of the same. Also, as a matter of fact, I'm glad that you mentioned about Pakistan ISI.
Jackie, my dear friend, prove me wrong.
Just allow me to complete my point, my dear friend. Thank you. In the same tablet that you have, I quickly request you to go to any AI platforms that you use or any Google that you use and type Dhruv Saxena, a member of the BJP IT cell who was found to be working for Pakistan's ISI. So therefore, sir, you will not see any
even by our own
working.
Who arrested him? Who arrested him? Who arrested him? Do not pass the buck. Do not deviate. Who arrested him? Why are you are becoming better than Hafiz Saeed to defend Rahul Gandhi? Is it true or not that Rahul? Is it true or not that Rahul asked Hindustan? Pradeep Bhandari, please let it complete. Yeah.
Pradeep. Please, Pradeep, allow me to complete my point. Firstly, of course, he was arrested by the NIA, and great job by the National Investigation Agency, and we take pride in that. The fact of the matter is, for members like Dhruv Saxena or any member of the Congress party who makes such statements, I think they should be dealt with iron hands. I completely agree with Anand Bhai. The Congress, Indian National Congress, must and should take a statement on this, because we might be having difference of opinion or ideologies, but when it comes to nation, when it comes to unity, and that must be sacrosanct, there are no two ways about it. Like Dhruv Saxena or any member of any party who has interest against the nation or who makes such frivolous, foolish, absolutely catastrophic statements, there needs to be measures.
Stop
Also,
comparing a mole
political party
with a man who has been an ex-chief minister of
Pradeep
Maharashtra.
Bhandari, I did not
No,
interrupt
do
you,
not
my
compare
friend.
apples and oranges.
I did not
Sorry.
interrupt you,
No,
my
a
dear
patriot
friend.
in me
Allow
will
me
interrupt
10
you.
seconds, my friend. This is not fair.
No,
10
because I
seconds.
was speaking the truth.
I hear you.
He's been the ex-chief minister of Congress party. Stop comparing a mole who was arrested by the NIA under us to what Mr. Chauhan has said as a matter of ideology, which is do not have army on the border.
My dear friend,
and can you tell me once Rahul has flagged any anti-national or such a comment?
One minute.
We go act. When has Rahul done it?
Okay, Syed Asad.
Prithviraj Chauhan or any political party, you're a politician. You have absolutely no knowledge of defense or how the army works. Making a foolish statement when we have China on one
acting like a kid. He was the
Syed Asad Abbas, Pradeep Bhandari.
Where every intelligence agency in Maharashtra used to report to him.
Syed Asad Abbas.
Stop giving a very immature argument.
Syed Asad Abbas and Pradeep Bhandari. Pradeep Bhandari made a point. It is not any regular politician. Prithviraj Chauhan is a seasoned politician and a former chief minister of the state of Maharashtra, and he has handled the home department, and he is also aware of the challenges of terror and the fear that it brings into the minds of people, and this is all parked back terror. He has spoken against it in the past. My point is,
therefore, he should not make such foolish statements.
No, not even that. The point is, forget Prithviraj Chauhan. No Bharatiya will make a statement like this without having any one naya paisa of facts to back. He would not even make, and even if that person had certain facts which point in this direction, no patriot would ever come out and compromise his country's interests on a national, on a world platform. So at various levels, this borders on treachery with the country. This borders on treason with the country. But more importantly, if this is the line, like you said, it is wrong to attribute this to the blessings of Mr. Rahul Gandhi or the Congress top leadership. Then the Congress top leadership has to come out and make an example of Mr. Prithviraj Chauhan, saying, dare not any other leader ever make an utterance like this against the country, and without sanction. I agree with you. Still waiting on that. Yes, General Pandey.
Yeah, I will move slightly away from the political debate. I just want to make one statement for a lot of people who start believing that with the drone war fighting going out and missiles going to be utilized, and therefore maybe foot soldiers or Indian Army or the regular armed forces not required. I just draw references to Israel and Hamas. Israel, backed up with the best technology behind, continues to fight against Hamas, right? You require boots on the ground. In Russia-Ukraine war, even after 4 years, in spite of drones and missiles, neither of the two countries have actually been subjugated completely. And soldiers on the ground are holding lines and forts wherever they are, while drones keep on doing